Hey everyone, it is Fitz with your post-game talk. Kansas State wins here, season finale, senior day, 65-58 here in Brailledge Coliseum. So I took a seat on the K-State bench. I'm in Jerome Tang's chair. Feels like a normal chair, but he didn't use it very often. He's usually wandering around, and today he saw good things when he was wandering around on the sideline right in front of me. This was a good performance by K-State. Didn't necessarily start that way. It was a pretty ugly first half for both teams. It was 28-24 at halftime in favor of the Cats. The Cats got a little burst there that kind of got them over the hump and gave them a lead at halftime. But it was the start of the second half when K-State asserted itself in a way that you have to if you want to beat a really good team. They had a really impressive opening stretch. They held Iowa State without a field goal for about 6.5 minutes to open that half. They got a lead as big as 17. They scored the first 9 points of the second half. So they really came out of that locker room focused. The start of the second half haven't always been good for K-State, but man, they went out and took advantage of this second half. They did a really nice job in this game. And, you know, really, K-State has been one of those teams that is kind of the sum of its stats. You can look at the post-game stats sheet and see, well, they didn't shoot it well, they turned it over too much, you know, those type of things. Today they flipped some key numbers. They really got it after it on the offensive boards, rebounding in general, and out-rebounded Iowa State by 9. They had points off turnovers, even though they had 15 turnovers and Iowa State had 14. K-State won that stat 20-11. And that's something they just haven't done much of this year, is being the more efficient team, the more team that can turn those turnovers into points. They outscored Iowa State on second chance points, on fast break points. And that what's notable really for Jerome Tang is he was fearful of letting Iowa State get out and transition and run up and down. And they pretty much prevented that for the most part. Iowa State never found a groove in this game. And, you know, it kind of was an Iowa State game. It was one of those games that you could see if you watched Iowa State this year that maybe they didn't play well for 30, even 35 minutes, but they were going to come at you. And K-State resisted that, even though they were under full court pressure most of the second half. And I've got to tell you, they don't know how to break a press very well. It was painful to watch the number of near turnovers that turned into opportunities for K-State to score. But again, Tyler Perry did basically what he needed to do, but he didn't have those point guard instincts to get the ball across the half-court line. He just ran into that a couple times, but I thought K-State overall was really good. And this win helps them not play in the first game in the Big 12 tournament. That starts on Tuesday, because this new bracket with 14 schools, next year it'll be 16, is now a 5-day bracket. So if you play that first day, you got to play 5 days to win the championship. No one's going to do that. And honestly, being in the 14 game to play West Virginia, it doesn't do anything for your resume. I'll give you another win, but it doesn't really move the needle for the committee. Jerome Tang put a pretty good argument in post-game why his team, based on quad 1 wins, a lack of quad 3 or 4 losses, why they probably have the resume to be in. They just don't have quite enough wins. But when I ask him point blank, what do they need to do in Kansas City? He goes, I think 2 wins will get us on the right side of the bubble. I don't know. You know what? You don't know what the committee's thinking. Maybe they are looking at this in an entirely different way than the Joe Lunardis and other bracketology people are. I think K-State might have snuck in the tournament. I don't know. It might sneak into the tournament if they get the 2 wins. But this team hasn't strung together those stretches, particularly when leaving home. We'll see what they do on a neutral court. We'll see what they do when they go to Kansas City. As we sit here now, it looks like they're going to get TCU maybe on Wednesday in advance to the second round or the third round to play Iowa State. So I find that very interesting, that we could see them finally get into the quarterfinals and meet Iowa State again. We'll see what happens. But I think this win probably locked K-State into the NIT. May not be hosting, or at least have the opportunity to be one of the automatic bids from the conference, because I think Cincinnati and UCF still probably have the upper hand in that. But we'll see how it all plays out. We'll see if this team can go to Kansas City and get some work done. Our Ryan Gilbert and Zach Carlson will be there. And I will be back here in the studio doing my studio things. Appreciate you watching this post-game talk. It was a good note for the seniors to finish on. But the question now becomes, is David Gasson really a senior, or is he coming back? Because some of these guys have an opportunity to return. We'll see what happens.